Are you struggling to land big jumps? You've noticed that all the good riders land their big jumps with heli loops, so you think that you need to learn heli loops, right? Wrong. Trying to learn heli loops too early is probably going to hurt. Before those good riders learned heli loops, they learned how to land big jumps with a technique that I'm going to show you in this video. Fair warning, the technique is going to shock you.
What's up guys, and welcome to an onboard coaching session. I'm going to show you how to do massive jumps without a heli loop. 12.7 meters, no heli loop, nice soft landing. So guys, the technique is to leave the kite far in the direction you came from. So say 1 o'clock in my case, maybe between 1 and 2, and fall out of the sky. And then at the last minute, see, I leave it over here. And at the last minute, you bring it slowly over. See, I leave it over here. And at the last minute, you bring it slowly over. Now, it's not about moving your kite fast. It's about putting it over to the side so that you drop faster. Now, that was 11.8 meters on the SURFR app, by the way. It's about putting it over to the side so that you drop fast. And then just before you approach the water, you slowly bring the kite through 12 o'clock. There's nothing fast about it.
If your kite ends up deep in the window when you land, down in front of you, then you're probably steering it too hard or too early. It's a common misconception that you should steer the kite forward fast. And here's a video of one of my students making this mistake.
Kite all the way over there, I wait, and I slowly bring it over. All good, nothing fast about it. 15.4 meters. So you're looking for a nice pendulum under your jump. The kite's right, I start to pendulum under it, and I bring it over. The kite's right, I start to pendulum under it, and I bring it over. Nice soft landing.
In this first part of the video, I'm teaching you the correct timing so that you can land softly and safely. Stay tuned until later in the video where I teach you how to land softly and ride out with speed. If you want to measure your jump heights using only your smartwatch like I'm doing in this video, then get the SURFR app. I've pinned the link to the app in the comments below, and guys, the app is sick. So how does it work? So the wind is blowing this way and I'm gonna jump to the left. So I'm riding to the left, I jump, and I keep my kite at 12, and it takes me up, 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 and then towards the top of my jump, I put my kite over to about 1, maybe 2 o'clock. So not only do I put my kite there, but I keep it there. And this does two things. One, because my kite is over to the side, it's not supporting me, and I'm going to drop rapidly towards the water. And two, because my kite's over to the side, it's going to pull me persistently over to the side, causing that pendulum effect that we spoke about. So my momentum ends up down in this direction. So I keep it over to the side and I fall towards the water, and just before I reach the water, I bring the kite over to 12 o'clock. So by this point, my mass is moving very fast. In other words, I have a lot of momentum down towards the water, and the combination of that momentum plus me bringing my kite over to 12 o'clock results in those front lines getting pulled by my body very hard. So what happens when your body pulls on those front lines is it makes the leading edge dive upwind. And this creates a huge amount of lift right when you need it so that you can touch down softly and safely. If you look closely at this video, you will actually see the leading edge diving upwind. One super important point I haven't yet mentioned is that a good jump starts with a good takeoff. Now, my how to jump over 10 meters video is coming out in January, so subscribe to my channel and ring that bell if you don't want to miss that video. Absorbing the landing. Even if you do everything perfectly with the kite, you will still need to do some work with your legs to absorb the force of you touching down onto the water. I made another video about this, and it's called The Secret to Landing Big Jumps. I put the link in the description.
Let me show you some common mistakes. Common mistake number 1 is leaving the kite at 12 o'clock the whole time. Watch this. So if you leave the kite at 12 the whole time, now I tried to land that, guys. If you leave it at 12 the whole time, you don't end up with this moment of a huge spike in your line tension. You have line tension the whole time, but it's because you're gliding in with the kite, and you don't want that. You need to put the kite over to the side somewhere so that you drop faster, and then when you want to perform your landing maneuver, whether it's a heli loop or normal landing like the ones I'm showing you, you have a huge spike in your line tension. You pull hard on those front lines, and the kite is going to help you land. So that's mistake number one, leaving the kite at 12.
Here's a video of one of my students doing this. Notice how he doesn't pendulum back in the direction he came from, and he just glides in steadily until he finally crashes.
Mistake number two is being hyperactive with a kite, steering it back and forth, back and forth. People say backward and forward and backward and forward and backward. And then mistake three, possibly the most common mistake, is trying to dive the kite fast. This might hurt me. I'm not excited. People have the kite up and they go, I couldn't commit to the crash, guys. I couldn't commit to it. It would have been too painful.
Okay guys, real talk. Using the technique that I've shown you in this video so far will help you land your jumps super softly and safely, but it won't help you ride out with speed, and you're probably going to land with your back foot forward. In spite of that, I still want you guys to learn to do your big jumps with this technique, because it's going to give you the feeling for the timing of having the kite come overhead and giving you a nice supported soft landing. And it's really important you get the feeling for that timing and get the feeling for how to create momentum and oppose the kite to tighten those front lines and get the lift that you want to get right at the moment when you need it. So please learn with this technique, but keep in mind it has its limitations, and now we're going to take things a step further. So let's first talk about the problem of landing with the back foot forward or the back foot downwind and what causes that. So imagine you're downwind of me. So if I'm riding this way and I jump to the left, ideally I want to land with my left foot forward again and just continue riding in that direction. But what happens with the technique I've shown you is you jump to the left, you put your kite over to 1 or 2 o'clock and you start to pendulum back in the direction you came from. And then you bring the kite over along the edge of the window through 12 o'clock, just at the right time. And you have a nice soft landing, it's perfect, but the kite's at the edge of the window. So what happens is, instead of having this left foot forward, because the kite goes along the edge of the window, it pulls your hips to face the kite and you end up with the back foot downwind. So it's quite easy to fix this problem. All you got to do is steer that kite a little bit harder. And instead of the kite creeping along the edge of the window, I'm going to swap perspectives now by 90 degrees. Instead of the kite creeping along the edge of the window, because you're steering it slowly, you're going to steer it a little bit faster. It's going to go into the window, and then you're going to be able to follow the kite downwind. Learn to steer it in a little bit harder. Not a lot harder, just a little bit harder. So that's the first thing, trying to land with the left foot forward so you can keep riding out. The next thing I want to talk about is the pendulum. So let me play out a jump for you again. So I'm riding this way, I do a nice big jump, boom, kite takes me up, up, up. And towards the top of my jump, I put my kite over to 1 or 2 o'clock and I start to pendulum back in this direction. Now, what's going to make me ride out in that direction is if the lifting force of the kite is greater than my momentum in that direction. So that means two things. One, in order for me to ride out to the left, I either need the kite to pull me so hard that it beats my momentum in that direction, or I need to have less momentum so that the kite can pull me more easily and I can continue riding out to the left. So what I want you to do is I want you first to learn to land your big jumps with a nice big pendulum and a nice soft landing. And once you're more confident, then don't put your kite as far back. Instead of putting it all the way back to 1 or 2 o'clock, just put it to about 1 o'clock, pendulum a little bit less, and you'll require a little bit less work from the kite to pull you in the direction you want to keep going. And then there's one step further. The next step to give you a little bit of more speed so that you can continue riding out from these nice big jumps, even if you have a big pendulum, is to do a Heli loop. Now it is more advanced, but I do want to say that if you've learned this technique that I've shown you in this video, adding a Heli loop isn't that hard. If you have the feeling for jumping, falling out of the sky fast, and bringing the kite over at just the right time, pulling a Heli loop, pulling a Heli loop is just a matter of steering the kite around slowly, but don't rush. Don't go for the Heli loop straight away. You're probably gonna stuff it up. You need to figure out this timing. You need to figure out the pendulum. You need to figure out the kite position and how it just picks you up at just the right moment before you go for the Heli loop. But anyway, let me show you some cool Heli loop clips. So if you want to get good at big air or old school kiting super fast, then you can join one of my luxury kite clinics. I'm gonna have a couple of them in 2025. They aren't available yet, but I'm running a waiting list. So if you want to book one of the clinics, then get on my waiting list, and fair warning, my clinics do book out super quickly. Go to gethighwithmike.com/clinic. I want to say thank you so much to my patrons for supporting my channel. It means the world to me. Now, if you want to help me make more how-to videos, then please head over to Patreon. I'll put the link down below, and you can become a member of my Mile High Club. The link is in the description. Now guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you've got any questions or anything to say at all, drop that in the comments below. Otherwise, be sure to give this video a like so YouTube knows it's cool. Be sure to like it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that yet. Why wouldn't you have subscribed yet? Why wouldn't you? Muchos besos. Adios. Boop.